My next guest is Pauline Lerman. She's the Vice President of Market Research at Zonda, one of the country's leading organizations that tracks housing, development, and real estate trends across Canada. Pauline, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Deval.
Thanks so much. So I wanted to talk about, there was a recent headline in the Globe and Mail this week about unsold condo inventory flooding the market. So can you tell us, I guess these are technically resale condos, but what we're talking about is condos that have literally just been built by developers that are now coming onto the market, correct?
Yes, that's right. It's actually something that has been talked about 8-9 years ago. So it feels like this story has come back. And what we're in right now is we're delivering so many units. Like, in fact, in the last 6 months, the GTA has seen 18,000 plus units of new condominiums go into occupancy in buildings. So that's a record for a 6-month period. So amongst that, what we're starting to see is units that are buildings that are completed and you can move in that are unsold.
And are these developers selling their units because they were unsold, or are these private people who bought them pre-construction that are selling them?
Sorry, these are developer units, actually. So there's also that shadow market of assignments, which is, by private buyers who have their units who are looking to offload as well.
Right. And so now developers have flooded the market trying to sell their own units. Now, are they selling them at a price per square foot that matches the resale market? So, for example, in the resale market, we're seeing condos around $1,000 per square foot, around plus or minus a little bit. Mm-hmm. But for the newly built condos, are they selling them at the market rate, or are they trying to sell them for higher?
Quite a number are trying to still sell them a little bit higher to kind of gain, because these units are obviously driving their final profit when they complete these buildings. But we are starting to see, pricing is very sticky. It's the last thing that kind of goes. We're starting to see price reductions significantly to kind of move inventory.
Interesting. And then are we seeing some of the people who purchase pre-construction condos who can't afford to close on them because of the way where interest rates are right now? Are some of those people walking away from their units?
Yes. It's a very hard number to actually gauge because every developer is different, and how they negotiate with their buyers is all over the map. The baseline that I've been told through different, realtors are involved with the pre-con market, it's about 10%, and it can run up to 20% depending on the building.
Wow, that's a huge number, absolutely. So what do you see happening, I guess, sort of in the years to come, when right now a lot of the builders aren't even building? So where's our inventory going to go?
Well, we're going to definitely see a period where they're going to have sales teams who are very kind of agile at selling units that are completed. We're probably going to reach close to 2,000 by the end of the year in terms of completed units. But after about late 2026, we're going to see an incredible drop-off in deliveries. A bulk of it's actually this year in 2025. And we have no starts. This year our starts are, and I think keeping in mind that's going to be delivered in 2030 at this point, less than 1,000 units in all the GTA for this quarter for us.
Wow.
So we're going to have this massive drop-off in supply. So there'll be a very stressed period as the market kind of moves through this type of inventory. But then after that, it's going to be kind of like this, feast or famine. We had so many and then so little.
And so when do you think this current inventory surge will get absorbed? Or how long do you think? How many months or how many years do you think?
It might take a couple years. We're talking about units that are built, and people are, having to look at a price point, immediacy of it all. And also, it used to be when you had unsold inventory, which was not untypical, it was slightly larger units. And certainly those are some of the units there. But when I was going through the numbers, at least a third were like one bedroom and dens. Which is kind of a bit of a change to what we're used to seeing. So
that is true, actually, because when I've been showing condos that they are unsold, they're from the developer, but usually it's a 3-bedroom condo or a 2-bedroom condo. It's the $2 million condo that nobody would buy pre-construction, that they needed to buy when they could see it. So exactly. Yeah, that's actually an interesting observation, that the unsold units that we're seeing now are actually the 1-bedrooms. It's the smaller units. It's not necessarily the bigger units. Or although I'm sure they probably have some of those bigger units in the market as well too, right?
They do. It's more diversified. It's a larger mix because of just how many units it be. So.
And In terms of, we've got, it seems like last year there were quite a number of developers that actually filed Chapter 11. They were filing bankruptcy protection simply because of what was going on in the market. Do you see that happening this year? Do you think that we've sort of seen the worst of it in terms of developers filing for bankruptcy?
I think we'll see one or two. Certainly the biggest thing we're seeing in the back end is selling of sites. Property, and this is something we see because we track Southwestern Ontario. We'll see disposition of sites ongoing in places like Kitchener as well as Toronto. So we'll see a lot more of that, and just people, if they need to do projects they want to move forward with, they're going to probably try and get a large equity partner or a large developer partner that doesn't have this type of stress.
Right. Interesting.
For that, yeah.
Pauline, thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's been really interesting and very insightful what's going on.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Thanks so much. That was Pauline Lehrman, Vice President of Market Research at Zonda, just giving us a heads up about all of the unsold inventory out there in the condo market and what that means in the months to come, as well as what's going to happen now that we see that developers haven't been building and when that inventory essentially is going to stop coming to the market.